Hey guys, it's Heather the Crochet Witch. How are you guys doing today? So, I am digging up another one of my lost series, trying to finish it, finishing the project associated with it, finishing the series itself. I've been so close, and the time is just, frankly, the time is just right to do it right now. You'll see why in a moment if you haven't been around my channel recently. But the actual series is the hashtag Movie and Stitch, not to be confused with the Movie Marquee Challenge. It's a different series. The hashtag Movie and Stitch, if you recall, if you've been around the YouTube streets, if you've seen other podcasters years ago now, because I haven't completed it in quite a while and the project needs to be done too. It was started by Terry from the Yarn Joy podcast. It was originally her and I believe 3 other lovely folks who are always linked down below in my original videos and probably will be in these also, because they should be, and because I will probably go back and link all the original information that I had in my Dropbox then will be linked now. So they will be linked. And yeah, the premise was to go alphabetically A through Z, and each video that we did, each series video, we would watch the movie. And a lot of them made projects that were, like, I know Terry made a blanket and she'd picked colors from each of the movies to put into the blanket. So by the end she had one big colorful blanket. People made amigurumis per movie, that kind of thing. But what I did, if you're not familiar, once again, to catch you up to speed, I worked on the same project, which was not like necessarily different, but I just made progress each time, and I watched A through Z. I'm in the middle of watching well, it's not the middle, it's almost done, but I am in progress of watching A through Z of horror movies because, you know, me being me, right? So the project that I have been making has consisted of solid granny squares. Can you see it in this video? Yes, you can. Okay, the Demogorgon right here, by his foot right here. I don't want to pull it out because I'm gonna make a mess, but that is what is left over right now. And you'll see it up closer, I promise, in one moment, but that is the remnants of what is left over at the moment of a Caron Jumbo in the color Plum Copper. It is the Halloweeniest of Halloween Caron Jumbo yarn. I love it. It is discontinued. I very much need them to bring it back. I very much need them to find some storage locker full of it and sell it again. I very much need to find an estate sale where people have had it. I would love to own more of it. I want to own all of it. I love it. It is one of my absolute favorite colorways ever. I love it. I love this project that I'm working on it with. It's beautiful. That being said, I'm using it to make solid granny squares. I am also adding in, which of course I shoved this bag so full, but the solid granny squares are being adorned by these 3 colors, these 3 colorful Halloween-y colors. We'll get to these 2 in a minute down here, but these are all Joann's Big Twist. Of course I can't pull it. Oh, I have a label actually, because Otis ate one of them last night. He ate the green one. These are Big Twist Rainbow Classics. In the color lime for the green one, the color orange for the orange one, and this beautiful witchy purple is just called Violet, I believe, because you know Joann's is very creative with their naming anyway. Yeah, last night during the fireworks, Otis got anxious when he was sitting at my feet, and Maverick never bothers with things like this, so I had taken my bag and I had set it at my feet. And I forgot it was there because Maverick had been at my feet for so long during the day that when Otis got there, I thought he was eating a toy, which he was at first. And then the next thing I know, I heard the crunch of the label. I was like, no. The yarn was not so bad, but the label had been ripped off. So I caught him in time and all. The black, I'm joining everything with my continuous join. It is just a red heart with love. That I have joined everything with. And yeah, so before I show you the project, let's talk about the movie that I watched, which, as you may have seen by the thumbnail, I have watched the W movie, which turned into 2 movies. And the reason why I found it was so appropriate right now is because I watched Warlock, which you can see the wonderful, talented, amazing Mr. Julian Sands adorning the cover. And I watched Warlock the Armageddon, which is the second in the series. I've never watched the third Warlock because Julian was not in it, and I wasn't in it for, I was in it for Julian. I heard it wasn't great, and I just didn't, you know. It is what it is. It is whatever, you know. So yeah, I never watched it. But for those of you who have been following along with me lately, or have been following the news lately, you know, briefly, I will say, since I don't have any trivia or anything for these movies, there was next to nothing when I looked up both movies, and there was next to nothing for trivia. Anyway, like nothing particularly interesting to give you, or funny or anything. I will fill this time with the reason why it was so appropriate. But for those of you who have followed along with me or the news, January 13th of this year, 2023, Julian went missing on January 13th, and it was a Friday the 13th actually, and he was mountain climbing. And I don't know if he was like actually like scaling the mountain, but he was, you know, off-roading, walking, wildernessing on Mount Baldy. So it was definitely like the rough terraining, uphilling and all. Like I said, I don't know if he was like climbing gear type of climbing, but he was out there anyway. And it was unsafe environments, but he was a like he was not a novice. He was an experienced like climber, hiker. I think he was hiking is what the definition was that he was doing actually. So he was experienced, you know, out in the wilderness and everything. He's done it a majority of his life. He's always been like a wildernessy person. But he went missing. There were really bad climates and everything. It was like a bad climate for anyone being out there, even like a skilled person. When his family like realized he hadn't made it back, they reported him missing, and searches started, and the climate was so bad that it had to be called off for like a temporary call off, not like permanently or anything. It resumed and then got called off, and then resumed and then got called off like several times. His brother had put out like a statement, you know, as they do. And he said like what was getting him through it basically was he really appreciated the efforts, and he obviously still wanted to hold on to hope, but in his heart he felt that Julian was gone. His family otherwise had put out like statements saying like that they still held on to hope and wanted to thank everyone for all of their efforts. And like it went through, you know, January turned to February, turned to March, turned to April, turned to May. And then like even into May and stuff, the searches had been like postponed and everything, and they had just resumed again. And it wasn't the search and rescue team that found anything, but some other hikers had found some human remains, and they were sent away for like analysis testing, as you may have to do, and as you will have to do when you find human remains for DNA and things like that. To be sure, of course, because no matter who it is, you want their family to have closure and know who it is. And it was confirmed that it was Julian, and now everyone has the closure, and he can be, properly laid to rest with whoever he was meant to be, wherever he was meant to be, however he was meant to be laid to rest with, and however he wanted to be. And so that's the happiest ending in the situation that you could ask for. But I know he wasn't young anymore, like in the Warlock movies, but he was only 63. So I feel like the world had a treasure stolen from us when his light went out, because he was amazing. There are still 4 unreleased movies, or I don't know if they're all for movies, if they're TV, I'm not sure, but 4 unreleased productions that he had coming out that I believe are still going to all come out. So just if you are curious about his newest works, or if you are a Julian fan, or if you just want to support him and his memory, look for them. I will try to mention them if in any of my vlogs or something, but yeah, that will be coming out. So there is, I guess, what's going to take up the trivia portion of the show, but of the segment. But yeah, Julian is sadly departed. But rest in peace. But that is why it was so fitting. I was like, I've been meaning to forever, and I don't know why I was putting it off. I think just because I wanted the perfect time to really sit and enjoy, and I didn't have any time to do that. And even though it was under a heartbreaking circumstance, I made time to sit and enjoy, and I'm so glad that I did. Just because it gave me these are 103 minutes and then 98 minutes, so just over 3 hours of just time to sit, reflect, enjoy Julian and his wonderful masterpieces. These are by far my favorite movies of his. If you haven't seen them, if you are horror fans, I'm not only saying this because of him, but I do think these 2 are pretty great. Remember, I am a big fan of basically bad movies, or bad horror movies anyway. I'm a fan of the B movies. I'm a big, Friday the 13th was, especially in its heyday, was by no means a big cinematic masterpiece, and it was my favorite ever of the slashers and horrors and everything. So bear in mind how my taste runs, but I think that comparatively this probably was more of a masterpiece than Friday the 13th if you're looking at it objectively. But yeah, the first Warlock was basically, to give you a synopsis, Julian plays the villain, which I have always cheered on the villains in most movies and things anyway. But I did like the hero in this. The hero was played by, what's his name? Richard E. Grant, if you're familiar with him. He was, what I know him best, besides this movie, what I know him best for was he was the manager in Spice World. The angry one, that guy. But he was in a lot of different things too, I know. That's just where I remember him most from. because I love that movie too. But he's another British actor. He's pretty wonderful in his own right. But he plays like a witch hunter who was going to kill Julian's character, Julian being the evil warlock who wreaked havoc on a village. And Julian, I believe he cast a spell to be taken away from this and travel back in time, or forward in time, really. And Richard Grant's character, his name is Redfern, he got caught up in that also, so he was also carried away with him. And so they both end up in present day, which was then the late 80s, so right up my alley again. And they meet this new girl, Cassandra with a K, and if you know, you know. And it's all about like Richard's character, Redfern. He's trying to convince her to help him because the warlock meets up with her first and puts like a curse on her and ages her. So she's in it because she's trying to get the bracelet that he stole to put the curse on her back. And so she wants to help Redfern in that way, and she gets caught up in it. Even after she gets her bracelet back, she ends up helping him still because now she's like in it for the cause, you know. And Julian's character, I don't think he ever had an actual name. I was mentioning this, I was talking to Samantha from Amethyst Craftworks. I don't think they ever actually gave him a name. He was just always called like the Warlock or a witch or whatever, but he is like on this mission forward in time to recover the 3 pieces that were separated. They had like Satan's Grand Grimoire, and it was separated into 3 pieces like back in his time, and he needed to recover them in this time to put them back together to basically undo creation so that Satan could take over and recreate the world in his image or whatever. And Redfern was trying to stop him. And since there's still a world, you can guess how it ended, but without giving away the actual spoiler of everything. But yeah, it's just, you know, your basic horror movie, good versus evil type thing. And then the second one was a little bit bigger budget. There's better graphics and such. And The Warlock Returned. I would say this one is a lot gorier. If you like the gore, watch it. If you don't like gore, this would be the one to stay away from, I guess. I think you should watch them both. I like them both. But it's not the world's goriest movie ever, don't get me wrong. But he gets basically reborn, and literally, and now Satan wants him to go find this collection of crystals that had been split up and scattered across the country. And if he gets them back together and uses them in a ritual, it will allow Satan to reach his ultimate power and be able to come to the world of, like, to our world, like rise from hell or whatever. And there are basically like this clan of druids who have been druids throughout, you know, the centuries, throughout generations. And their task has been to keep the stones safe, which through the generations, they've somewhat failed and somewhat succeeded, because like some of the stones have been scattered across the country. Like the Warlock finds them in different places throughout, you know, the world. I think they're all in the U.S., just probably for the ease of the movie, but he finds them, like they've been made into like art collection pieces. They've been made into like jewelry, like for art shows and things like that, like just different things. But the druids still have several of them. So like the final showdown is him coming for the jewels and trying to start the ritual, and, you know, big good versus evil again, fight ensues. And I'll let you watch it for yourself or whatever to find out the ending. But does Julian win, or do the druids win? There is a Warlock 3, so you tell me. But yeah, like this, you know, they're not like some great thinking movie, but they're wonderful. I adored them through my teenage years, so I love them. And they'll be one of my favorite memories of Julian ever. And yeah, so if you're so inclined, I would definitely list that as one of his most wonderful works for you to try. So that was my W movies. It was a double feature. And I will show you the project and then tell you what I'm going to do for my X movie. I will say now, going to try to cheat, and I was going to just do my last 3 movies as different Julian movies with, like, X was just going to have, the movie was going to have X in the title somewhere. Y was just going to have a Y in the title somewhere, and Z was just going to have a Z in the title somewhere. I cannot find a movie that he did with Z in the title. I cannot find a movie, an actual movie, there's TV shows but not movies, with a Y in the title. And the X, I was going to do Boxing Helena, which if you've seen that movie, it's an odd one. It's not for everyone, I'll say that. So my review on that would have been a little sketch. Like, I would have had to leave out some stuff and leave some things to the imagination. So it's probably best I didn't do that one. But yeah, it's not streaming anywhere, so I would have had to wait to get that in the mail, buy it on like eBay or Amazon or something. It's not even like streaming on Amazon or anything to buy, nothing, nowhere. Which I would have thought it would at least be like, they have some crazy stuff, you know, streaming and everything, so it's not like so sketchy and risque that you know, it's not like that bad, but it's an odd movie. If you've never seen it, and you don't mind, I don't want to say adult themes, like it's not, you know, it's not like a backroom rental video kind of thing, but it's adult themed, though. If you don't mind mature content, I would give it a watch. It's an artsy, mature content movie. That makes it sound like prawn. It's not. But it's odd. I can't really. It's odd. Anyway, let me show you the project. We're here for the crochet, right? So I told you all the colors that I used. I'm going to try to show you the square first. It should be hard since I got so much of this done. So here's the squares. And I'm going to end up putting a picture in here if I can too, just because it's so big. But here's the squares, and like I outlined them in the different colors that I told you about. And joined it, as you can see, with the black. That is my continuous join. This is actually the back side, and look how flat it is. Like, I know it's hard to see in black. I'll have that link down below too, because everybody should use the continuous join. It's the best join ever. This is the other side of it, and it just looks like it's whip stitched. I know it's hard to see in black, but I do have it in other videos in other colors. It just looks like it's whip stitched. Like there's a flat stitch line. That's it. That is it. Nothing else. It's totally flat otherwise. Now what I started doing, I had all of that joined up, and I had, fold it over real quick. I had it like the black on the edge, right? So what I've gotten done is I had 2 of the colors, like I single crocheted on the long sides of the blanket. And then for the short sides, which will be the foot and the head of the blanket, the top and bottom, I did this border, which there'll be it'll be bigger and more pronounced because the purple will be at the top. But I just did these little peaks. Like I said, they'll be much closer together, and it'll be, I don't know, I think it's cool, and it adds a little more height to the blanket. And then I may go around that in black. I'm not sure yet, but I'll try, like I said, to add a picture. I'm going to wave my arms here so that hopefully I remember to do it. And hopefully I get a picture taken before I have to go to work. But yeah, hopefully you'll see how big it is. It's quite a big blanket. I love it. And then I have some little appliques that I've been wanting to put on. I did also get the eyeball of the ghost sewn on, because I have, where that white sparkly yarn comes in, I made little tiny ghosts, which I believe I have the link to also down below. It's just a little ghost applique. I had that one and this one. And they're pretty little. I was just gonna like sew them on, right? Come on, focus. Focus. But then I made them, that was like with, I think, that was a long time ago, you guys. I think that was with a E hook. So then I moved up to, I think that's an H hook. I made 2 more, like one of each shape. And then I doubled the yarn to make big chunky boys. And I can't see the sparkle that well, but it is that iridescent sparkle going through it because it's a red heart with love metallic that I just had like one skein of. And then so that had a pattern, which hopefully I have linked down below if you're interested. Then I freehanded this, and I'm not sure if it's going on the blanket because I'm not sure if it's good enough. But I made this for like a tombstone. I figured when I sew it on, I can like pull out the edges a little more to have it a little more pronounced. And, you know, this will be a little straighter. But yeah, I don't know. You guys think that's good enough to be on the blanket? I just figured I'd stick it at the bottom, maybe have a ghost behind it or something. But yeah. And then I was considering maybe if I don't do more with the border to take up the next 3 movies worth of stuff and sewing these on, like if I have more time, basically, I might try to make like maybe like bat appliques or something. I don't know. That's a maybe still. But like if the tombstones had looked better, I might have tried to do another tombstone. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm even going to put it on there, let alone that I like it enough to do another one. Tell me what you guys think about that though. But yeah, so that's it as far as the project goes. And I will just quickly do my X movie, and then I will let you guys go till next time. But the X movie that I'm doing is not exactly horror, but it's sci-fi, and it's the closest thing I could find. But I'm going to do the X-Files. I think there's multiple X-File movies, so this one is Fight the Future. And I do try to let you guys know if it is streaming. I have not looked this one up, but I think it is. A while ago it was on Netflix, but I feel like it might be on Disney Plus. I'm not sure. I guess I'm not going to say because I'm not sure about this one. However, if you go to Amazon Prime, like if you have Amazon Prime, these are on there, but the link goes to, this one is a freebie, and this one is something else. They're both for free though. They're both streaming for free, like from Amazon Prime. So you can watch these, just saying, if you look them up, if you're interested in them. I, of course, have the hard copy. Well, anyway, all right, I have to go get ready for work. Hopefully I have time to get this edited before work, but all right. I love you guys so much. Thanks for bearing with me and putting up with me, and I will talk to you soon. I love you. Bye, guys.